Hi, I'm Beth Trapani, and this is the second in a series of conversations on the connection between healthy bodies and healthy minds. It's brought to you by Mission Healthy Living, which is sponsored by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. And I'd like to introduce our guest, David Genova, who's the Wellness Coordinator for the Pottstown Area School District. So David, welcome, and thanks for joining us today. We're talking today about the Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds Institute, which was sponsored by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation. And that is a two-day conference that is held annually. It's coming up this year in August, and you took quite a team to the Institute. Tell us about that.
Yeah, our superintendent did a great job at organizing it. We took about 42 staff, which consisted of our superintendent, principals, academic teachers, office staff, nurses, wow, physical education teachers. While we were at the Institute, one of the first things that we did at the end, which was very, very important, was we had a debriefing session right there at the Hill School, and with all of our with our entire team, and we were able to go around and kind of get everybody's explanation on kind of what their experiences were like and what they plan on taking back with them.
And in the end, and we should say that the Healthy Bodies, Healthy Minds Institute is all about how getting kids up and active can actually lead to better academic outcomes.
Absolutely.
So as your team debriefed at the end of this conference, what was the takeaway? What did everybody kind of agree upon?
Well, we knew that we were going to do something at each of the buildings, but the question was, what were we going to do? What were our takeaways? Everybody at that point was, pretty overwhelmed with a lot of the information that they had learned over the past 2 days. But after we left the Hill School and got back into the swing of things once school started, we had another meeting with that same group of staff that attended the Healthy Body, Healthy Minds Institute.
And what did you decide to do? How were you going to implement what you'd learned?
Well, that particular group quickly became known as our Brain Energizer Committee, and since then we've met 4 separate times. But the idea behind that committee was to kind of get together and rehash what everybody had learned at the Institute and come up with an action plan or a wellness strategy to be able to incorporate into their school buildings.
And give us some very tangible ways that you've been able to take what you learned and put it into practice in the schools.
Well, one of the first, we know through research that movement, can help increase academic performance, behavior, things of that nature. So one of the first things that we wanted to do was educate our teachers on incorporating brain energizers into the classroom, and we've done that throughout the entire school district.
So give us an example. What does a brain energizer look like?
Oh, well, a brain energizer is also known as a brain break, but we're calling them energizers. It just makes more sense for us. And it's basically just 1 to 3 minutes of getting the students up out of their seat and moving around. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It could be crossing over the midline of the body. It could be walking around the classroom. It could also be incorporated into the actual curriculum, or it can be used just as a break in itself, just from curriculum.
So you've been sitting and working on math problems all day, and or all class period, maybe 20 minutes into the period, for example, a teacher might say, we're going to take a brain energizer and we're going to get up and do jumping jacks or something for a few minutes.
Exactly.
And is the goal just to kind of break it up for the kids? Tell us about how that works.
Well, the goal is to break up the class for the kids, but also to get them re-engaged and get them to be able to focus. You had mentioned after 20 minutes, well, research shows that after 20 minutes of a student or an adult sitting still for too long listening to one person speak, information can kind of go through one ear and out the other. They lack that focus and concentration. So being able to take 1 to 3 minutes out of a class period or every 20 minutes to get the students up and moving, it can be very beneficial both for the teacher and for the student.
Can you give us an example of ways that a teacher has incorporated it into the curriculum?
Well, just for math as an example, if there's, if you're talking about an elementary school classroom and they're doing addition just by getting up out of your seat doing, 3 + 2 is 5, 5 jumping jacks, that type of thing.
Okay, terrific. What are some other ways that you've been able to incorporate what you learned at the Institute into the school district?
Well, we've taken kind of a step in the direction that the Naperville School District.
And that's Indiana?
That's Chicago.
Chicago, sorry,
suburb
Naperville,
of
Chicago.
Illinois.
Right.
And what they had done was they had a 0-hour PE class, and it was a voluntary class of students participating in physical activity prior to school. So we are doing that currently at our middle school with 5th and 6th graders. We have a program called AM Exercise that's going on twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, for an hour before school.
So do kids specifically show up earlier for that, or are these kids who would normally be there earlier because their parents have to drop them off early?
No, these are kids that are showing up earlier, and we're averaging about 20 per class, even with the weather we've been having, which has been impressive.
Terrific, great. How about some other things you've been doing?
We're also doing after-school programs at the elementary level, and once again, that's physically active based. Over the summer, we created a brain stimulation video. We actually worked with PCTV on that. We brought a film crew into 2 of our elementary schools, one at Barth and one at Rupert. That's our experimental classrooms or buildings, and we're using 2 of our other classrooms that aren't participating in the brain stimulation videos as controls, and we're actually going to be collecting data on this.
So what are the videos, and how are you using them?
The videos are, there's 6 different exercises, exercise routines, each lasting 10 minutes, from 8:50 to 9 o'clock every single morning. Our students at Barth and Rupert are being active, and it's all done in the classroom. It's all stationary type of movement, so it doesn't consist of a large area.
So things that they can just stand up and do. And,
exactly.
And the goal, again, is to just get them better prepared to learn.
Better prepared to learn. Like I said, we're collecting data on behavior or office referrals. We're collecting data on BMI. We're looking at physical data based on crunches and like the presidential stuff that phys ed teachers have their students do. And we're looking at test scores as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting at the end of the year, comparing the students that are participating in this program to students that are not.
What's the reaction been so far from students and from teachers, anecdotally?
Yeah, most of it has been very, very positive. Of course, you're going to have some teachers that are a little reluctant to try something different, but for the most part, we've had a very positive turnout and feedback from teachers.
Give us a little sampling of some of the kinds of things that they're telling you.
Positively?
Yes.
That they specifically notice a difference in behavior. That's one of the first things they notice, especially teachers that are participating in this daily 10 minutes of physical activity before school. They're noticing a difference, as well as teachers that are incorporating daily brain energizers. A lot of times students will act out in class, and that's not because they're behaving bad, it's because they're basically telling the teacher, I need to get up and I need to move around. So the teachers are recognizing this now, and rather than reprimanding the student, they're realizing, okay, we need to get these kids up and moving around.
Yeah, I think, our current school system makes it very difficult because we're asking young bodies who need to move to sit for long periods of time.
Yep.
What do you hope to do ultimately, coming back to another institute?
I hope to bring just as many staff, if not more. We have one under our belt, and we have a pretty good action plan going on right now, and I just hope to continue what we've already built.
Terrific. Well, we'll look forward to seeing the results and the outcomes from that first year, and I'm sure that you'll build on it and expand on it. So, David, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And again, this is the second in a series of conversations on the connection between healthy bodies and healthy minds, brought to you by Mission Healthy Living, which is funded by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation.